What's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
And this is our non-spoiler review for The Marvels. The movie. Higher, further, faster, baby. But not at the box office. That is right. Welcome back to the channel. You might think, based on the way that I said that at the beginning, that I hated this film and that I'm one of those white guys that's like, oh, The Marvels is the worst thing ever.
I can't stand women.
I can't stand whamming.
Oh my god.
As that one guy made fun of one time said. God. Incels, man. No, I think that this movie's about to lose a lot of money.
Definitely.
Do I think that it deserves to lose a lot of money?
Maybe.
Complicated.
Yeah. I tweeted out last night and I said The Marvels is an absolute dumpster fire train wreck, and I had a blast.
Yes.
I had so much fun watching it. And so I feel like I'm very conflicted on this movie.
I want to start by saying that I think that The Marvels is a disaster.
Yeah, definitely.
For Marvel. But I don't think that it's a disaster as a movie.
Well, the plot makes no sense.
The plot, it's not that the plot doesn't make sense. It's that the plot is so simple that the villain is bland and the reason behind the villain is so generically bland.
Yeah, but
that it is really hard to give a crap.
Well, and also if you start asking any kind of questions, it falls apart.
Yeah. I agree with that.
It is so paper thin. In
terms of Marvel, though, the Marvels is directed by Nia DaCosta, who previously directed Little Woods in 2019, and then the Candyman reboot. I've not seen either of those films.
Me neither.
I really like the trailers for the Candyman reboot, and I love the cast of that movie. So I do want to see it at some point, but I've never seen any of her work before this.
Yeah.
Having said that, I still feel like I haven't, because I feel like I just watched a blender of footage.
Yeah.
That it didn't really feel directed.
No.
In a lot of scenes. And the reason that I say that is because this is a movie that has really wonderful scenes that I greatly enjoyed.
Yep.
And one of my favorite scenes ever put to film.
Same.
It also completely drops the previous scene for the next scene.
Yeah.
Especially thematically.
Yeah, there are no, consequences for our characters, really. Well,
and not just that, but the movie brings up really interesting ideas. It starts conversations for these characters that I think would be very interesting to get into.
Sure, yeah.
And it always, every single time, drops them by the side of the road in the next scene.
Yeah.
And so the movie is about three women, right? It's about Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, because it really is her film at the end of the day. It wants to be a Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers film, but it isn't.
It's not really.
And it definitely never tries to be a Monica Rambeau film, because she does not want to be here.
Pretty much.
Which is kind of her defining character trait in the movie.
Yeah.
It is really tough, in my opinion, when you make a character's arc. They don't want to be here until they realize at the very end that they do want to be here. And it's like, okay, well,
I'm happy
I'll pay attention to the other people in the scenes because she doesn't want to.
Yeah, she's really not given very much, which is unfortunate because she's really charismatic on film, the actress.
Teyonah Parris is great as the character.
Yeah.
Oh, no, she's great. I think the problem is that this movie has 3 leads.
Yeah.
And Kamala Khan wants to be in this story so badly that the movie sort of naturally revolves around her, but she has the least connection to everyone else and anything else that's going on.
Well, actually, I disagree. I think that the movie does become about her because she's got her whole family there, which is in the trailers. That's not a spoiler. But her family from Miss Marvel is around, and that was the best part of the show.
Okay, but they're not in the main movie. They're in a different movie.
Fair.
Yeah,
there are 2 different movies in this movie.
This film splits between the Marvels doing the Marvels Galaxy stuff and Nick Fury and and Kamala Khan's family. This is kind of a spoiler, I guess, but not really. Like,
it's in the trailers.
It just is what the movie is.
Yeah.
From the very beginning, they are on separate journeys. One of which is about a plot, and the other of which is a sitcom episode.
Yeah.
From like sci-fi Friends.
Yeah. Which honestly are probably my favorite parts of the movie.
Well, and this is the problem. The sci-fi Friends stuff is so good.
Into it.
Like, Nick Fury and Kamala Khan's mom are the best little odd couple. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's so tough because I loved so much. I loved so much about this movie.
Yeah, normally I don't think I've been so conflicted about a movie in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, yeah, I kind of hate the plot. It doesn't work. There's so many questions. It should have come out before Secret Invasion. There's so much there that is wrong. But I haven't laughed so much in a Marvel movie in a really long time. And I genuinely, was having a great time. And if that's what the movie's supposed to do, then that's what the movie's supposed to do. In that way, it kind of almost feels, like a 90s fantasy movie where
I agree with that.
Where you're like, don't think about the plot. It falls apart. It's fucking garbage. But it's just a bunch of people having a good time to entertain you. And, that is kind of mostly what it is. And then it has a few serious moments that feel so out of place because then they are completely ignored in the next scene. Like you said, they move on so fast.
In terms of the, making of the movie.
Yeah.
This movie is lit very poorly sometimes.
Yeah.
It's lit very wonderfully sometimes.
Yeah.
It's shot very poorly sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then other scenes, it's shot very well. The action is really well choreographed at times. And then in other sequences, impossible to understand what's going on screen.
Yeah.
And it really, it feels like, it feels like there were it just feels like too many people involved. Ultimately. Yeah. It feels...
Too many cooks in this
Too many
kitchen.
reshoots. There's just something fundamentally broken here.
Yeah.
And yet, I had a great time.
And yet I would watch it again.
The two ladies behind us were having a great time.
Our theater was cackling. We had an almost full theater.
Yeah, which I was... given the pre-sale numbers, I was genuinely surprised by. But there were maybe 10 empty seats at the front.
Yeah. I was very surprised. Our entire theater was laughing the whole time, having a blast. Really just, enthralled by the movie. And I'm so confused by what happened. The experience that we all shared.
We want to do a spoiler chat because at the beginning of this video, I said... This is a disaster for Marvel.
Yes.
And I would like to elaborate on that without spoiling, but we will elaborate on that in a spoiler video soon. I might see it again to try and piece together how this breaks.
Here's the thing. This is a movie I would love to see again, and I don't say that very often.
Yeah.
But a lot of movies that I've seen recently, this is one I would absolutely just go watch again.
I would recommend going and seeing this.
Yeah.
More so than Ant-Man the Wasp: Quant Mania, which I found incredibly boring. I would say the movies are about as the movies make about as much sense as each other.
Yeah.
And the villains are about as interesting in both.
Yeah.
Although I do think Jonathan Majors acquits himself to that role better. Not real world controversy notwithstanding. Yeah. I think that he's better in that role than Darbin. Everything about that character doesn't work. Yeah. Particularly because they don't spend any time making her work. They don't give her... She has this connection to Captain Marvel, but it's one flashback scene, and then they never, talk.
Yeah, it's like we're missing a whole movie there.
Yeah, and she's, a genocidal terrorist. But...
Yeah?
But then, they want to play as if they can talk to her about. I don't know. It's very weird. It doesn't. The movie spends no time trying to make it make sense, so it just doesn't.
Yeah. So don't worry about it.
This is a disaster for Marvel because this is the first movie I've truly felt like they give up on the idea that all of these stories are in the same universe. This is the first, and look, there have been retcons and there have been things that don't quite match up, but this is the first movie where the last project came out with Secret Invasion, and they're coming out side by side, and they genuinely do not work together. They cannot, for reasons that we'll get to in a spoiler chat, they cannot possibly exist side by side. And it is the first time where two properties have so directly contradicted each other, atonally, because Nick Fury in these two movies, between Secret Invasion and this, is such a wild...
Not the same.
Black girl magic!
Yep.
He's hilarious in this movie.
True.
Here's the thing. I think this movie works for me because the comedy works for me, and I've seen people complain, like, Nick Fury makes a bunch of jokes, and I'm like, yeah, it's a Marvel movie. What do you expect?
Yeah.
But the plot, plot of the Skrulls in this movie and Secret Invasion are so antithetical to one another and don't function on any level. And it also gives up on being a sequel to Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
In that Captain Marvel has both gone through a whole other Marvel movie's worth of plot in between.
We didn't know about.
That kind of gets covered in a flashback.
I thought I had forgotten the plot of the first Marvel movie.
And also, Captain Marvel has lived 30 years with literally no character development or personal life, other than the fact that there's a spoiler that about her relationship status that is genuinely one of the most oh, okay... moments
And then, like you said, we move on in the next scene.
And then it never comes back.
Never comes back.
Well,
actually, there's a few revelations about her relationship status, but
one of them's kind of we'll do it in spoilers. I think that for Marvel, who have been telling the audience that watch the shows, here's why it's bad. This is it. This movie requires you to have seen Miss Marvel and WandaVision to understand what is happening.
But don't watch Secret Invasion.
But don't pay too much attention to those movies because they don't, or those TV shows, because they don't quite work with this.
Right.
But also don't watch Secret Invasion because it definitely doesn't work with this.
Yeah.
But also you have to have watched, there's a bunch of other stuff that you have to have watched to give a shit.
Yeah.
And then the mid-credit scene is a cameo reference to the past that also introduces something that is directly from a comic that isn't related to the thing from the past. And so you're like, I was like, because I've read the comics that this is, I've read them. I was there when the dark secrets were written. I was looking at it going, okay.
Are you sure about that?
So that comic character was in that thing. Okay. I'm very confused, but I also had a fucking blast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird experience.
Yeah. Kamala Khan, Aman Vellani, our best friend. If you look at the pinned photo on our Instagram, she is the best part of the movie. Nick Fury's great. Aman Vellani's family.
Fantastic.
Not her family. Kamala Khan's family.
Right.
The acting is great. Honestly. The lighting is not, but the acting is great. There's two science characters who work for Nick Fury. I thought they were fantastic.
Oh yeah. Like you said, the Friends comedy side of stuff. Great time.
But a deeply flawed movie.
Oh, yes, egregiously flawed. Don't blow on it with a soft breeze because it will fall apart in your fingers.
You're not wrong. I have a question for you as a girly.
As the girly.
You're the girly of the group. There's been a discussion on Twitter that this movie's actually really good if you're a woman, but it's just that the mans won't get it.
Yeah.
What as a man, what did I not get? What did I miss that your woman brain was able to pull out of this?
Here's the thing. If you admit, first of all, if you're online and you're admitting that men and women's brains work differently, then there's a whole other argument there to be said about
or if you think that men and women are both
marginalized
monoliths.
Group of people. There's a greater discussion we had, and you might be contradicting yourself if you stand on one side of that argument. I'm just saying, you can dig into that and figure it out for yourself. You're not missing anything if you're a man. The movie doesn't fucking work fundamentally on a plot level, but it was a blast, and I think that there are a lot of people who don't go to the movies to scrutinize the thing that they are watching.
Mm-hmm.
plenty of people don't do that. Man, woman, non-binary, it doesn't fucking matter, right? Like, we go and we're pretty analytical with our stuff because we want to talk about it afterwards. But a lot of people just watch movies to have a good time, and I think that this movie is a good time, which is why people think that it is better than it is. Because it's not good, but it's a lot of fun, and therefore I think worth seeing if that's the kind of movie that you like to see. I really think it boils down to the people who watch things for fun, or like have a more critical brain, and like things have to, like all the ducks kind of have to be in a row for it to work for them. And both of those people are valid. And I have been like both of those people in my life.
I would argue, though, that even if you are a vibes emotion person who doesn't really care if the plot makes sense, the emotional threads that this movie brings up are dropped before they're explored in an interesting way.
True, yeah.
And so I think that even if you like this movie, and there are plenty of people who I think will really, really like this movie. Yeah. I like this movie for the wrong reasons. I like this movie for the same reason that I like the Silver Surfer movie. The dropping of the emotional threads that would have been an interesting movie is really unfortunate to me. There is a moment, without getting too spoilery, but like this is just kind of like, I'm not going to say exactly what happens, but there's a moment in the movie where Miss Marvel has to look at Captain Marvel for the first time and view her as being imperfect. And it looks like it is about to become... The movie, at this point, I was still loving it. Some of the twists and turns that I didn't like start with this beat.
Yeah.
And where the plot kind of just falls apart and the villain gets really generic. But there's a moment where Kamala Khan looks at Miss Marvel and has to interrogate her fandom of this person.
Yeah.
And for 1 second, it looks like, oh, this next scene is going to be harrowing and hard.
Yeah.
And then they never bring it up again.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, but that was you brought up the interesting idea.
Yeah.
You started the conversation about why this was a cool movie to make.
And then forgot about it.
And then you moved on to a different emotional beat that with Monica Rambeau that it just ends and is never brought up again through the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And so like the beginnings of these ideas are here, and I can see where the screenwriters were like, this is what this movie's about. This is what this movie's about. And then I think that they were like, okay, well, this is what this movie's about from this script. This is what the movie's about in this script, and this is what the movie's about in this script. So what if we just like boom, 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 boom. Now we have 3 parts of movies, each of which has an idea that I actually think is really cool, but this movie that we got doesn't explore any of them.
No.
And so we just kind of get like teased at what a good The Marvels movie would have been.
Yep.
While getting comedy and action scenes that mostly work to a level that I was satisfied with.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that like that's ultimately where I land. Brie Larson was good in the movie. Teyonah Parris was good in the movie.
Yeah.
Iman Vellani was amazing in the movie. She steals it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like the narrative structure collapses, and there's no follow through.
Yeah. No, I agree. The movie is a mess.
Yeah. But
you're not gonna enjoy it
like,
more if you're a woman. Like there's
go see it.
Yeah.
It has my favorite sequence.
Same.
It has a sequence so insane and so fantastic.
Yeah.
And like choreographed to music so beautifully.
Yeah. It's probably the best thing I've seen in the last
crazy thing
decade.
is it isn't the thing that happens on the musical planet.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie's a ride.
This movie's a ride.
Have fun. Just let it take you.
And don't watch Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion is really bad.
And also contradicts this. So
our reaction to the final 2 episodes will be up tomorrow. The Secret Invasion was very bad. This movie would be better if Secret Invasion hadn't come out.
Agreed.
If you like this video, like and subscribe to the channel. What would you give it out of 10? It's hard, right? Because I was thinking about this. Because on some levels, it's a 10 out of 10 must-see movie. And on other levels, it's like a 4.
Yeah, like a 5 out of 10.
If you like insanity that doesn't quite come together in the end, it's a 10 out of 10. Go see it.
Sure, yeah.
Because that is what this movie ultimately is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
There's one scene in this movie I know I will pull up on Disney Plus and watch over and over Absolutely. And over and over again while I'm high at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, I just know you're going to hear me downstairs cackling at something, and you're like, oh my God, he's watching exactly fucking The Marvels again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He took edibles, and he's watching The Marvels, and he's having the time of his fucking life.
Yeah. Definitely recommend.
If you want to follow us around the internet, you can. I'm at Nerdy Nightly.
I'm at Claris Polaris.
Do something nerdy tonight, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.